lots of crabby children.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
I think we can get started. Are y'all ready to see the tanks?
All right, so welcome aboard Crab Central Station, you guys. We are so excited that you are here with us for our very first live tank reaction. We usually do these pre-recorded, but you guys get to actually share in the fun of us getting to see your tanks live. Before we get started, and we do this in our pre-recorded videos too, we just want to remind you guys that this is a community where we like to just encourage
Support.
Yes.
Right.
Support, caring for one another, kind comments. You know, all of us start our hermit crab journey usually in a bad place where we learn in the pet stores or the beach shops or whatever, with improper care. Right. But the important thing is, like, we're all here and we're all learning and we're improving our care, and so it's a journey. That's why we have our train. Hermit crab husbandry is about a journey. So everybody starts somewhere, and we're always constantly moving to better things. So please keep it kind and supportive and encouraging. You know, these tank reactions really give us, all of us, including us, ideas for our tanks.
Yeah.
It's really good for us also to look at other people's tanks and just learn from them, and apply that in our own way. So in the comments, be loving and caring and kind, please. Yeah. So are we ready?
Let's get started. Oh, by the way, I'm Faith. This is Darcy. This is Crab Central Station. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, all those things. Engage with this. So let's get started with our first tank. Okay, guys. So
our first one is from Baby Dragon.
All right, so Baby Dragon says, hello Crab Central Station. I have 3 crabs, Gorgonzola, Ticonderoga, and Osborne. I have around 9 empty shells for them to switch in and out of whenever they please. They're kept in a 20-gallon tank. They have an upper level with a lot of with a seagrass hammock. Large piece of cholla wood that connects to the canopy. There's moss and fake plants, upper levels, things to hide in. 2 pools, fresh water, which is dechlorinated, and then the salt water, which I'm assuming is probably also dechlorinated. And they're deep enough for the largest crab to fully submerge. 2 coconut huts, piece of cork, awesome, lots of enrichment things. There is also a live pothos plant, and it is clean. It was cleaned well before planting it. Awesome, crabs love it. Yep. Yes, awesome. Okay, always on the lookout for mites and bugs. Substrate is a mix of play sand and coconut fiber. Used to use the calcium sand, but heard it was harmful. Yep, we know that all too well. Mixture is 1 part sand, 1 part coconut fiber. All right, perfect. The substrate is 5 to 6 inches deep. And they feed their crabs fruits, veggies, other foods. All right, perfect. Yeah, super cool.
There's more.
Oh, there's more. Okay, got it. Okay, so here's a list of the foods they're feeding: apples, carrots, celery, strawberries, peppers. I'm assuming like bell peppers, almonds, unsalted. Good, glad you include that. Cool, awesome. Chicken, salmon, protein. Very cool. Cuttlefish bone, an essential. They clean the water pools often, water the pothos plant. Awesome. Molting, keep a molting log. Yes, that's awesome to kind of track successful molts. And things about the shells, they track that as well. They did have a thermometer and a hydrometer, but when they did the full tank clean, they were both broken, and so they're getting new ones. Got it. Heat and humidity, 75 to 85. Crabs are most active when it's 85. Yep. All right. It was quite a journey since they got their first crab, who sadly died, which was almost a year ago. So yeah, it sounds like this has been an awesome journey. It sounds like you've implemented a lot of awesome things. So let's talk about that. Thank you for your submission. All right, Baby Dragon. Oh, little crab. I wonder which one this is.
Look, there's 2 of them on there.
I think it was, Gorgonzola?
Oh, this is Gorgonzola. Okay.
Aww.
Very cute.
Oh, if you're wondering, guys, I put all the pictures in. So, yeah. I've seen it, but they
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's important because this is a live react. So Brooke has seen these. We have not.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm seeing this like second level here, and the cholla wood.
I see your pathos in the corner that you were talking about.
Yep, it's beautiful. It looks very healthy, and I'm seeing
the light in the back. Let's see. There's another tank picture. Let's
Oh,
move
good, okay.
to another tank picture.
You guys, I love
here we
that.
go.
Oh, there we go. That's perfect. I love that canopy idea. Super wonderful. Adds kind of a second layer. Climbing enrichment. We have many of those in our tanks. I think actually we have one. Oh, just kidding. I lied. Thought we had one right behind
It's
us.
right over there. Yeah, they're called lizard loungers. They're seagrass, which is safe for your hermit crabs, but I do want to point out that they mold very, very easily, and we get a lot of comments, you guys, when yours mold, because it is something that we recommend and that we use. So a couple things you can do about that. First of all, soak it in safe hermit crab salt water. Soak it for like several hours, even overnight if you want to. And then you can just let it air dry. And that helps to keep the mold down. But the biggest thing, you guys, is just like in this picture, you can see that the lizard lounger is opposite of the pool. Well, this one pool, it's still close to the other one. You want to get them as far away from your pool as possible. And also you want to keep them off the substrate. So you're going to need to use some other kind of ladder or something like that to help the crabs get up to it, because if you actually lean it against the corner into the actual sub, that's where you really get a lot of mold. But we have had ours for a couple years now, and I did have mold with, problems with it in the beginning before I learned the trick, but I have not had any mold issues with them since. Now I have seen a lot of people start to use the plastic green ones. They still go in the corner, and those work out fine too. So if you continue to have that issue, then that would, try that other kind.
Yeah, for sure. So I have two things right off the bat, and then I'll let Darcy finish up here. So first of all, just some super awesome positives. Seems like you have some really great places for them to hide. I'm seeing these plants, the lizard lounger, the cholla wood, lots of great enrichment. So one of my suggestions first has to do with this substrate. So you mentioned that you're doing like a 1-to-1 ratio, so equal parts sand with equal parts eco-earth. And actually what we recommend is to do 5 parts sand to 1 part eco-earth. And the reason being, and we actually have first-hand experience with this, we started our first ever tanks with just eco-earth, and then we moved to mixing in some sand, but we thought surely the eco-earth was more beneficial than sand, so we used probably about what you have now. It pretty much looked just like that. What we found when we switched to the 5-to-1 ratio, that's 5 parts sand, 1 part eco-earth, is that the molt caves and the tunnels that your crabs make hold up way better. It is way closer to their natural environment on the beach. It holds moisture far better. Eco-earth has a tendency, you guys, to really lock in moisture, which causes a lot of problems with bacterial blooms, fungal blooms, and mold, which is not safe for your crabs. Also, it collapses really easily, so it's difficult for your crabs to molt. So also it attracts bugs. All that being said, 5-to-1 is definitely the way to go. Also, real quick, I noticed that you have a screened lid.
I think so too. I'm not sure. Baby Dragon, if you're watching, go on comments and let us know, because I thought that at first, but now I'm seeing like a reflection of the light. Maybe that's on the back of the tank though.
Oh.
I don't know. It's hard to tell if you have like plexiglass covering the screen or not.
So if you do have a screen lid, and to anyone out there that has a screen lid, once again, we started with screen lids because that's what's recommended. We just put the heat lamp right on top and that was it. Screen lids, because of the holes, do not hold in humidity at all. It just flies right out. And hermit crabs actually have modified gills, and they actually require humidity in the air to breathe. And so when you have a screened lid and all of that moisture is coming right out of the tank, it is actually causing issues when it comes to your hermit crabs breathing and health and things like that. So temporarily, a great fix for that is to get some saran wrap and just saran wrap the top of your tank and then put that screen lid right on top of it. Don't worry about poking air holes or anything like that. They breathe through those modified gills, so the air that is in the tank when it's saran wrapped in is perfect. And then later on down the line, getting like a glass lid is really ideal. It doesn't let any air out, and that's the way to go.
Yep, and Baby Dragon did respond, so this is a plexiglass on top, so nicely done. It looks like maybe even kind of insulated around the edges.
Okay, awesome,
so
cool.
Very good. It's hard
Great
to tell in
work, Baby
pictures
Dragon.
sometimes, you guys, but
Yeah.
that is great advice because we do see a lot of tanks that have the open caged like metal top, so excellent.
Sure.
Very good. All right, so I would like to just talk to you about your pathos because, first of all, live plants in your tanks are good. Some of them, not all of them, but we can link a safe plant list for you guys, and pathos is a safe plant for your hermit crabs. However, planting it directly into the sub is harmful because it has a root system, and as your pathos plant grows, your roots will go deeper into your substrate and they will expand out. So hermit crabs, when they molt, can stay down for months, many months sometimes, 7 months even, right up to a year. And so there's a chance that the root system of your pathos plant can actually grow around your molting hermit crab and trap them under the substrate. So if you would like to safely plant pathos in your tank, what would be best is to actually use a separate pot, like maybe a plastic pot, that sort of thing. Put your planting soil in there, and then for us, we cover it with a mesh, craft mesh, so that the crabs cannot dig down inside of there. And that way your roots are all contained within that pot and not expanding into your soil, and the crabs also cannot get into it. Also, for all of you who this is kind of maybe new information to, your hermit crabs will eat the plants, so be prepared to replace those often. Of course, it's natural and it's great for the environment, for the cleaning the air. Your crabs will enjoy it. Just know that you have to replace them. Also, a lot of plants coming from nurseries and things like that are sprayed with pesticides and things. So you really need to kind of quarantine your plants when you first get them. Take them out of that planting soil, put them into all natural soil, and then let them quarantine for a long time before you actually put it into your tank. So that's on your real plants in your tank.
My favorite plant hack, I know this isn't necessarily having to do with this tank, but I love live plants in the hermit crab tank, but like Darcy said, they really get mowed down quickly. So my favorite thing to do is to plant little chia seed gardens. So they're just like the chia seeds you buy at the store, and you just plant them in your soil or in a little garden, and they'll sprout out really quickly. The crabs absolutely love them. They'll mow them down, but it's cheap. They grow quickly, and the roots don't actually grow down deep enough into the soil for it to harm your crabs. So if you're looking for a live plant option to kind of add that greenery in and live things for your crabs to eat, that's an awesome one to go with.
Yeah, very good. All right, so your pools look really great. You've got good ways in and out. You have extra shells everywhere. You've got your light on there, it looks like. So you've got a lot of really good things going on. I don't see a heat mat. And I don't remember in the email if you talked about a heat mat, but maybe you live somewhere that's warm. And so I know that your gauge was reading warm enough. So just keep an eye on that. In the winter, you may need to add your heat mat if it's not staying warm enough. And then the last thing that I was just going to suggest is, you said that you offer Cuttlebone occasionally. I would just go ahead and leave that in the tank as a staple, because Cuttlebone, one, is a great foraging item, but it is really good for them as they go down and molt. It's great calcium so that they can harden up their new exoskeleton. So let me see if there's any other pictures to show you guys real quick. I think we had one more of a crab. There we go.
Too cute. Aww.
Awesome.
Looking very healthy. Awesome.
All right. So there is our first tank, you guys. Well done, Baby Dragon. Thank you for sharing. We really do appreciate that. Okay, so let's move on to our next one.
She's showing the crab behind you first. Cute.
Mom, if you move. There's a, can y'all see this crab? Oh, wait, how do we put it in the big view? Face cam?
Yeah.
Okay, if you see right here, oh, this is weird.
Oh, also,
Right here.
Baby Dragon said it's summer right now and it's warm, but they have a heat mat that they can remove in
Yeah.
and out gently.
Perfect.
figured.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard Brooke there. Maybe, actually, comment if you can hear Brooke, because then we don't have to repeat what she says, but,
I'm a little quiet, but they can.
yeah. But,
Okay.
okay, perfect. She said that Baby Dragon has a heat mat for the winter. So, this right here is,
Lila.
yeah, Yes, I was about to say strawberry, but
Lila.
that's purple. Anyways, and this little Lila is actually digging in our enrichment garden that we had sent to us and eating some food. So super cute.
All right.
I think it's a strawberry.
Okay.
Okay.
Next one is Angela.
All right, so with Angela, she has a 20-gallon tall with mixed play sand and coconut husk for substrate, 2 pools, 1 salt, 1 fresh. They change it every 2 days. They intend on adding bubblers in the future. 3 purple pinchers, variety of fruits and veggies, and they are doing dried food from Christine's crabs. And Hobo Hermit on Etsy, awesome! They also make sure to have worm castings available as well as sphagnum moss, cholla wood, and catappa leaves. Temperature is 75 to 77 degrees with the humidity stable at 80. Awesome! Well, let's check out this tank, Angela. Very
Wow.
cool. Oh, wow. See, I've never seen a bucket hung like that. Sorry,
Yeah.
just initial thoughts, but that's actually so neat. I love that. Okay, let's
Very
talk
cool.
about it. Yeah, this is looking great.
You have used your space so well. We're talking about a 20-gallon tank, and you have given them tons of climbing by using the light filter. I love that idea, guys. If you have a smaller tank, 10-gallon, 20-gallon tank, this is a great idea to offer a second level in your tank or to offer climbing. Also, once you add that light filter, now you have a way to attach a lot of different things in your tank, just like Angela has right here. So that's a great idea. And light filter is so affordable. It's difficult to find in your Home Depot, but it is affordable. I don't know why they keep it in the strangest places, but just ask somebody to help you guys. It's light filter. So yeah, we have links to it in our videos as well.
Yep.
So if you want to get it online. I love how she has a shelf up here at the top for climbing, and that looks like another shell shop. I see 2 shell shops, so you have lots of shells for your crabs. Great job there.
Yep, I'm loving this pot turned on the side. Y'all can see back there in that corner. We've had many a tank with pots or mugs. Like we'll get mugs from the dollar store and we'll have them turned on their side, and you just put a little moss in there. Hermes love to hide, so that's awesome.
There's another tank. Let's see.
Oh yeah, let's take a look at that one. Oh, awesome.
go.
Yep. Lots of climbing, lots of hiding. We're seeing cholla wood. Awesome.
What do you have in that little white cup that's hanging up there? Is that like a moss pit,
It looks
maybe?
like moss. Could you go back to where we can see the pools? Or like go
Yeah.
back to the...
Let's see if it's on this one. Let's see if we have another view. There we go.
Oh, good.
Pools.
Awesome. Cool. Those look great.
Really good pool. So I'm not sure, in this picture it doesn't look like you're doubled up your pools. So I would highly suggest that. It's just going to make it a whole lot easier when you do your water changes. So you get the exact same container and put the empty one on the bottom, and that way when you're changing waters, you just lift out that top dish to change the water, because a lot of times, for whatever reason, our hermit crabs love to molt underneath the water pool. And so if you're lifting out the whole pool, sometimes you're exposing a molt cave and that sort of thing. But if you always leave one in place and just lift out the top one,
Keeps everything balanced.
yeah,
and
but
safe.
great way in and out, good traction on the
Yeah.
bottom.
Awesome. Super cool.
Your substrate looks great as well. A couple things, Angela, just to keep an eye on. This bridge here in the back that's yellow, I don't know if it's metal, maybe it's not. It's hard to tell again in pictures, you guys. But in the case that anybody is using metal in your tank, there is a chance of it rusting, which is very dangerous for your crabs. This is coated, and so we have used some coated metals in our tank and haven't had a problem, but we have used some coated metal in our tanks and we did
have a problem.
So the important thing is that you're just always keeping an eye on everything that's, oh, now you can see it. I'm sorry. I just got distracted. That is a moss pit up there. Sorry, guys. All right, that little cup is a moss pit. Anyway, so keep an eye on all the things in your tank, even artificial plants and things like that. Sometimes the crabs can pick at them and exposes like the middle part of it.
Wiring, yeah.
Yeah. So, you just want to keep your crabs safe, so always be looking for those kinds of things.
Yeah.
You got
Go
something?
ahead. No.
The other thing that I was going to mention, I think you can see it. Let me go back to a different. Okay, so I believe in the back of your tank, Angela, at the top is maybe where your gauge is placed. Looks like zip tied up there. So the best place for your gauge, you guys, is as close to the middle of your tank as you can get, about 2 to 3 inches off the sub. So you're trying to kind of gauge what the humidity and the heat is for your hermit crab in that area where they are. And so if possible, I would just make your gauge a little bit more towards the center and closer down to the substrate. That'll give you a more accurate reading, especially back by that cocoa wall, because the cocoa fiber has a tendency to really
suck in the moisture and hold it in there.
Yes, and so it can dry out your humidity. So keep an eye on that. If you start to have low humidity, it might be the cocoa fiber. So yeah.
We have a super chat from Kelly. She says, thank you guys for being awesome.
Oh, thank you, Kelly. We appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's see if we got all these tanks in.
I have an enrichment idea for Angela.
Okay.
So super awesome with all of the hiding stuff, Angela, the cocoa wall, the climbing, things like that. Super awesome. Oh, here's some foods that she was
of good food.
talking about. Yep, some of our favorites there. So I would actually recommend that you get a wheel for your hermit crab. I am a huge supporter of wheels in hermit crab tanks. Our crabs actually like the ones like this one right here that actually go on the back, but some crabs like the saucers. We just find personally that ours like the wheels better. You guys, crabs walk 10 to 12 miles a night in the wild. They love to walk, and so we have some crabs, now not all crabs, but we have some crabs who will spend hours and hours and hours just walking on the wheel and walking on the wheel until they feel like they've had their treadmill time for the day, and then they'll get off. But to anybody that does not have a wheel in their tank, I would recommend getting one. It's wonderful enrichment. Crabs love them.
Worth it.
It's totally worth it.
Totally worth it.
Yeah.
One last thing. I just noticed this in this picture here. You can see this netting on the right-hand side of her tank. It kind of goes over the cocoa fiber and over that light filter, and then kind of comes all the way down over that pot into the stand. And those are easy for the crabs to climb, and it's not harmful as far as like molding or rusting or anything like that. However, they are made to catch animals like fish and crabs. They are, that's what they are, nets for that. So it can become something that your crab can get tangled in. So just be really super careful, and if it looks like your crabs are having a difficult time in there or that they're getting kind of stuck, then I would just stick with the light filter personally. So
yeah, that's why that's kind of, we used to have the nets too. That's why we switched to the seagrass like cocoa loungers. We just find that our crabs can climb them a lot easier without risk of getting stuck.
We have another super chat from Gina.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Gina. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, you guys. Y'all are so awesome.
What did Gina say?
She didn't send a message. She just said.
Oh, awesome.
Chat.
Great.
And then between the next tank, do you want to stop and answer some questions?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, send some questions in the chat.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Well, your tank was awesome, Angela. Thank you so much for sending it in. Yes, it looks super fun. Super fun for your crabs.
You have a lot of great things going on.
Absolutely.
Alright, so Hermit's Hounds and Chickens says, we are going to the beach this Saturday for a 7-day trip. What can I feed my crabs?
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually, we just posted a video a couple weeks back. I can't remember the exact title, but something about
how to care for your hermit crab while on vacation.
Thank you, Brooke. How to care for your hermit crab while on vacation. Hermit crabs are actually fairly easy pets to care for while you're on vacation. So go watch that video after we're done with our live, and we'll give you some tips. But as far as food goes, dry foods, ample amounts of moss, and I'm forgetting the name of that, worm castings. What is the yellow
green
stick?
sand, millet, leaves, dried flowers.
Yeah.
Foraging items are really good if you're going to be gone on vacation. So definitely stock up on those.
For sure. But check that video out. Brooke can link it in the chat real quick.
Done. She did it.
All right. Awesome.
Okay. Next tank. Next tank, guys. Let's see. We are.
Oh, there were a lot of.
Cody.
All right. Hey, Darcy and fam at Crab Central Station. My name is Dakota, and I have been a hermit crab mama since September 5th, 2020. 10 months as of CrabCon. Woo! Speaking of which, CrabCon is coming up, you guys.
Get your tickets.
Yes, get your tickets. Brooke, can you link that also? Awesome. I think she's working on it. Okay. Like many, I was blind to the needs of caring for these little guys initially, but by watching our videos, I was able to upgrade to a 40-gallon tank in March. Oh, that's so awesome. So, what Cody has. Okay, 2 purple pinchers, and they are both, okay, pretty good size. Awesome. Old modified aquarium hood as a lid, with a chloroplast, I think, affixed to fill the gaps and make it airtight. Awesome. 11 by 23 heat mat, and then it's hooked above the sub on the back of the tank and plugged into the thermostat. 3 sides of the tank are insulated. Accurate I can't talk today. An accurate hydrometer and thermometer, and the humidity and heat is usually between 80 and 82, and then 82 and 88. They're aware that the humidity is a tad too high. Reduce the pools today through first. Okay,
That's
awesome.
a good idea.
Yeah. Okay, 11 to 13 inches of substrate in a 5-to-1. Play stand Eco Earth mixture, 2 half-gallon pools, 1 with fresh water primed, and then 1 with salt water also primed, and they use the marine grade salt. Cool, and then they do filter the pools. Check the salinity with a refractometer. Awesome. Fresh and dry foods are alternated. Bioactive FX, Canadian chubby crab dry food, cuttlebone, worm castings, millet, leaf litter, green sand.
All the things we just talked about.
So green sand is actually really difficult, we found, to source anywhere but the U.S. I've had many people out of the States who are sending us DMs saying, oh, we can't find green sand. So that's so crazy, because in the U.S., like, it's on Amazon. You just get it from Amazon. So yeah. Okay, so 3 to 5 extra shells per crab. Awesome. LED light, 12-hour cycle. Cool. Wise camera, and then they have moss pits, sphagnum moss, climbable hide,
Reptivine.
made by mom's boyfriend's 3D printer. Oh, that's super cool. Food safe plastic. That's actually an awesome tool to have at your disposal. Curiosity cube, millet spray holder, all those things. Okay, awesome. So this is sounding super cool. Let's look at Cody's tank.
Oh no, I didn't hear that you were saying Cody, and he said, "Oh no, be nice, guys," in the comments. I was like, what do you mean? Everyone's being nice.
Okay, oh, I love the butterflies on the top. Wow, this is looking beautiful.
My first reaction is a lot of hiding.
Yes.
Your hermit crabs are going to feel super safe, and really deep sub, which is great.
Awesome.
And looks like a great mixture. Like you said, you've got the 5-to-1. I see your shell shop, really cool up there.
Pools look super deep. They're filtered. That's awesome.
Doubled up.
Yep. Okay.
Hey guys, we were talking about where to put the gauge on a different tank earlier, and this one is where you want it. It's towards the middle of the tank, just a few inches off the sub. I love how you have it like in the craft mesh protector there. It makes it easy to hang, and the crabs can climb on it if they can get to it. But anyway, so yeah, that is right where you want to have it. Very
you
nice.
guys, if you're wondering what a good 5-to-1 ratio looks like, it's this right here. So truly, it pretty much looks like sand. You can't really tell that there's Eco Earth in it. So here's a great example of that. I do have a question for you about your pools. So you seem to have pretty big pools here, which is awesome and perfect. When we have pools that are that size or bigger, what we like to do is actually put them on a shelf. So we'll actually dig a shelf they're on a shelf.
I think that might be what this blue thing.
Blue thing. Okay, so for anybody.
Wait, let's see if there's another picture.
Oh, that's a good idea. That's a
crab.
Very cute. So for it seems that Dakota is on a shelf, but for anybody who doesn't quite know what I'm referring to, oh, that's a good idea. That looks like a baby ring that's like holding the. That's smart. For anyone who doesn't or isn't familiar with the tactic of putting your water on a shelf, the purpose is because water gets so heavy, and you would hate for a crab to kind of dig underneath your water pools and then molt under there, and then the water to the actual like tub to collapse in on top of your crab. So the idea is you can buy like a plastic shelf, like bathroom shelf from Walmart or whatever, and dig it into your substrate and set the water on top of it. That way it does not collapse in.
I think that's what those in the right hand corner, the little bit of blue, I think is what that shelf is.
Yeah.
And that was a question I was going to ask too. I was like, I think that's a shelf, but I just want to make sure. And it's really great to mention it just for everybody else who is watching.
Yeah.
You have Cuttlebone here, which is great. I see you have a couple of food dishes there. Your wheel is in the back. Insulation to keep them warm in the winter.
Yep.
Everything is looking
Lots of climbing.
really good.
I'm seeing a wheel, you guys. We talked about this. Wheels are important.
Yep. Looks like your shell shop above, maybe some kind of Heidi hut that you've got going on. The flowers just offer lots of fun colors.
Mm-hmm. Love that.
Okay, there's a better picture of the pools and the filters. Also, this is great, Cody. So in this picture right here, you can see that the filter spill part of the filter is actually below the dish it's sitting in. So crabs like to climb on filters all the time, and they're stronger than we think they are. So they can push them over. Our crabs, when we were using this type of filter, they would actually take that lid off the top of the filter all the time and sit on the little filter pad.
Yep.
And so funny. But anyways, if your filter is taller than your bowl and they tip it over, it is going to suck all that water out of your pool and put it in your substrate. So guys, make sure that you do like this and put your filters in that.
Absolutely.
All right, let's see. We have one more.
Oh,
Okay,
perfect.
so this is your lid that you were showing us. Your lights and your Wise camera there on top, capturing all the fun moments from below.
Awesome.
That's great. All right, so really, I mean, I don't have a lot of suggestions. I think you're doing great.
Absolutely.
You know, just continue learning and growing and expanding as you can. So, great job. Thank you.
Thank you for your submission. Okay, so we're going to open up the floor to do some questions, you guys. Send them in, and we'll answer them live for you.
Let's do more than one.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
only did one, and then
Sorry.
they were like, I'll still ask you another
We
one.
have 7 tanks to review, so we've done 3. So just to let you know.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what questions do we
Mhm.
have.
Little
Let's
baby.
scroll through.
You guys, just like a side note, I've been noticing as we've gotten into like spring and summer in Texas, our 2019 babies, captive bred babies, have been so active. I feel like when we first got them, they were super shy and they hid all the time, and it was honestly rare to see multiple out at once, and if you did, it was probably in the middle of the night. But you guys, now they just like climb around, they don't even care. And something that's interesting is that I think semi-recently we've put some of our older crabs in there with them, and I'm starting to wonder if these baby crabs maybe feel more secure, like safety in numbers with them, or if they're learning from the older crabs. I don't really know, but there's been a huge change either with the big crabs or the summer months or both. I don't really know, but it's been kind of crazy.
All right, so we have another super chat from Cody.
Aw,
Thanks, Cody.
Thank you,
Cody
Cody.
says, "You guys, I'm so thankful for the review. You're gonna make me cry."
Aw.
You're doing great.
So
Keep it up.
Yes, you're doing awesome. Thank you so much for your support, Cody.
And then let's see, Hermit's Hounds and Chickens asks, wait, no, I missed a comment. Wait, hang on. Hermit crabs annul terrariums and more. They were kind of similar.
Okay.
Says, what do you do with the baby hermit crab larvae when they need to come out of the water?
Yes. So I saw a few of your comments earlier today, and we were just trying to get ready for this, so I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to respond as quickly as we normally like to. And it's a kind of a long process. So when you're looking at breeding hermit crabs in captivity, first of all, you can't make your hermit crabs mate. They're kind of on their own on that one. The best thing that you can do is provide an environment that makes them want to reproduce, that makes them feel like they have the resources to be able to do so, and then they will mate on their own. So once that happens, then your female will have fertilized eggs that she'll carry around in her shell, and she has pleopods on the back of her soft abdomen to hold those eggs in the shell, and she actually uses them to turn the eggs close to her body to keep them warm, and she does this all day and all night. She works tirelessly. Poor mama crab. Anyways, taking care of those babies from day one. Then after about anywhere between 22 to 25 usually days that they are in the shell, they mature, and then they're ready to be spawned. At that point in nature, the female crabs will venture to the ocean. They have to spawn their eggs in the ocean. That's the only way they will survive. If they are spawned in the freshwater pool in your tank, they immediately die. All right, so your female will head over to your saltwater pool, and she will spawn, which she actually like flicks the eggs out of her shell into the saltwater pool. They immediately hatch, and now you have Zoe. So for at that point, you have to decide if you're going to try and raise them. You can't leave them in your tank; they won't survive. And so that's where the chrysal comes in. You have to put the Zoe into the chrysal. You have to kind of mimic the ocean, the tide turning of the ocean, the correct salinity, the correct temperature. Of course, they're going to be going through different larval stages, and so they shed as they change and morph into their next stage. That dirties up your water, along with all the pooping that they're doing, along with all the food that you're feeding them, and so you have to do a lot of the water changings and things like that. So yeah, it's really complicated. By the time they go through all those larval changes, then they still have to make their journey onto land, and they still have to molt to become a land hermit crab. So it's very, very difficult to breed in captivity. We plan to show you guys what that is like, and do kind of a day in the life of breeding at some point. So that will give you kind of a closer look at that, as well as CrabCon. There will be Mary Acres will be at CrabCon, and there's other people around the world attempting breeding and trying some different methods, and they will be there talking about what they're doing as well. So if you're really interested in breeding, you guys, CrabCon's the place to be.
Yep.
Also, stay tuned.
And stay
Yeah.
tuned.
Something
Stay
soon.
tuned.
Something soon.
Yeah.
Something soon you'll see. Follow us on our social media so you know what it is, because it's not going to be on our YouTube.
It's a big thing.
But if you want to hear about breeding, follow our social medias, and you'll
Yeah.
find out soon.
For sure.
All
Yep.
right, next question. Do you have one?
No.
Oh, okay. How do you guys attach your vines and things? My suction cups keep falling off, and I'm always sticking them back up.
So, we have multiple methods in our tanks for how we attach things. Actually, right behind us, one of my favorites, you can see, this is weird. I don't know how to use my hand when it's not mirroring. Okay, yes, here. You can see right here, there's this little rod, and it's like, what's the name?
Tension rod.
Tension rod, yes. It's a little tension rod that you can get anywhere, Walmart, Target, and we wrap it in jute, and then we actually like tension rod it to the sides of the tank. We use that all over in our tanks, yeah. And we will like drape our plants over it. We'll attach other things to it, like this like baby hammock thing that I'm looking at right now that we have. We attached jute to the baby hammock and then attached that jute to the tension rod, so that's a big one. We also just have tons of wood structures in our tank, which makes it easy to drape things over and in because those are dug down into the substrate. In the past we have used zip ties. I know that we have these like, actually I don't think you can see, but we have like grass mats in the back of some of our tanks in this build, and those grass mats are actually like zip tied
to the tank.
To the tank. We will also use food grade silicone. That's what it's called.
It's just 100% silicone.
100% silicone. Yeah, you don't need. Anyways, we will silicone things to the backs of our tanks. So lots and lots of options for you. Suction cups we've also found are rough.
Silicone though, you have to do that without crabs in your tank. So if you're doing a new build, you want to silicone everything in before you move your crabs over, because it's too toxic for them to be in the tank while you're doing that. So,
Yep. You want to do 2 more questions?
Sure.
Okay.
All right, and then I'll go back and look next time. Let's pick a really good question. What's the the responsible way to become a crab guardian if not pet stores?
That's a great question.
Yep.
Do you want to answer?
Sure.
Okay.
So there are several ways. First of all, I love your question. So Lycos has an adoption program. They're the first group out there to do this. It's been around for quite a while. You can actually go to our website, www.crabcentralstation.com, and there is a button on there for adoption, which will take you to the Lycos adoption program to fill out the application. There are people in your area that need to rehome for whatever reason, and so then you'll know you'll be getting a crab that's been in good care recommendations, which is awesome. Another way is to adopt captive bred babies, of course, and you can get to the application the same way at our website. The adoption button will take you to captive bred babies. So that is through Mary Acres, and you do have to purchase those because she lovingly brought them to land.
Yeah.
So that would be a second way. And then a third way, you guys, is to just look in your local Facebook Market or Craigslist for people who are selling hermit crabs or needing to rehome them for whatever reason. And then you usually do have to pay for them because those people want to, I guess, like get back their initial investment, but you're saving a hermit crab and you're not buying them from the stores, which perpetuates a horrible industry. And so those are 3 great ways that you can get hermit crabs without buying them at the pet store.
Yep. Absolutely. Adopt, don't shop.
Let's see, one more question. Alright, Cody asks if we recommend isopods.
Great question. So we've had a couple tank builds with isopods in it. Actually, Darcy does not like bugs, okay? She does not like bugs. She does not like spiders, nothing. She would see them and be like, ooh, which is so crazy because I kind of think hermit crabs are a little bug-like, like of the crustacean family. My youngest sister says they're like giant spiders to her. She hates them. But Brooke and I thought the isopods were actually pretty beneficial. They do a great job of cleaning up. The thing that you have to watch out for with them is that they populate so quickly. And so you don't want to have an overpopulation issue. But if you're looking for a cleanup crew, isopods are a great one. The hermit crabs, they didn't have any issues with them.
They are
Springtails.
safe.
Yeah,
they are safe. Here's the thing I would consider mostly with isopods. First of all, do your research. Some reproduce quicker than others, so you could get a slower reproducing isopod. A better idea, honestly, is to find a local isopod to where you live so that it's a native species, because then if you start to overpopulate in your tank, you can just return
dump them outside.
Yeah, you can return them. But if you order isopods online, like a specific kind, like powder blues or powder oranges or zebras or clowns or something like that, you guys, you cannot just release your overpopulated isopod out into nature. So just keep that in mind.
Also,
And springtails are great if you're considering to add, a cleanup crew bioactive enclosure. Then springtails are super great, and you might get them even if you don't want them. So we have them, and we didn't plan on having them. So
just make sure your isopods are not the kind that need protein, because what are they, like the rubber duckies? They might.
Those
well,
cute little ones.
yes, some isopods actually burrow down to molt, and so you want to be careful with those ones, like the rubber ducky ones. Yeah.
I thought they need protein. Oh, I'm mistaken. All right, so that was the last one. So
Okay.
y'all can go to the next.
All right, next tank. Here we go.
Okay, so
We're still on.
Angela, no, Cody is next. Oh, I see. This is Cody's tank.
Sorry,
still.
guys.
Um,
Okay, here we go.
All right, next we have Kathleen. So this is what they said. Okay. Hi, would love to get your reaction to our tank. We are so new to this that we are interested in your expert opinion and maybe some tips on how we can get our crabs to come out once in a while. They never come out. Here's the tank's info. 2 purple pincher crabs, 20-gallon tank, 60-40 eco earth and play sand, 1 freshwater pool, 1 saltwater pool. We feed the hermit crabs food medley, pellets, mealworms, dried shrimp. Thank you. All right, Kathleen, well, let's take a look at your tank here. Okay, awesome. Yep. So let's chat about this. This is actually a question, you guys, that we get all the time. My crabs aren't active. I answer I swear probably 10 DMs about this a day. And I'm not even our main Instagram person. I'm sure Brooke answers even more. You know, my hermit crabs aren't active. How do we get them to come out? Uh-oh, that turned off. So yeah, let's talk about that. So the first step to talking about are your hermit crabs active or not definitely has to do with tank conditions. So I don't know if you can hear our dog, he's very excited. So it has to do with tank conditions. So ultimately you want to discover if you have enough tank condition or the correct tank conditions, things like that. So
we actually recorded a video for you guys on this because we do get asked this so often, and so we go through all the tips for you guys to get to have more active crabs. So I don't want to cover all that in this because we do have a video coming out, but we'll give you some tips right now that will help you in the meantime.
For sure.
I just want to bring out, you know, we talked about the saran wrap around the mesh lids. It looks like right here Kathleen's done that, and so great job with saran wrapping your lids so you can keep in your humidity.
Yep.
You have heat mats on the back of your tank so that you can keep your hermit crabs warm, and that is really active. If you're freezing, you're not going to be very active, so those are really good. When it comes, I'm not sure where you live, but when it comes to be winter, those two heat mats might not be enough. So you could either replace it with a larger heat mat. We like to use Bean Farm. It would go the entire length of your tank. You can also insulate it with some reflex, or we often use like a sunshade. You know, goes in your
car hood thing.
in the windshield of your car. You can wrap that around. You can also put a blanket over your tank. There's some
Lots
ways that
of
you can do that. But keep an eye on that for winter. So I would say another really good thing that you could add to have more active crabs would be just some more hides, some more greenery, or some kind of plants, wood that they can climb over, under, and around. So I know it's, we like to put a lot of our decor at the back of the tank so that we can see our hermit crabs across the front. But they're a prey animal, and so when they come out of their cocoa hut like you have right here, which is awesome, by the way, they love those. When they come out of that, they feel completely exposed. And so they want to go back in the cocoa hut right away. So if you would place some other things throughout your tank that they can kind of feel a little bit more secure, then they will come out more often.
Absolutely.
I love your two pools you have here. You've got them doubled up. Great job. You're using bubblers, so that's going to definitely help you out with your maintenance. Nice job there.
I wanted to talk about the food that you're feeding. I actually think I see it in the back. It's probably like flukers or something, probably like turtle food or something like that. You mentioned
shrimp, maybe.
Yeah, you mentioned that it was like shrimp pellets, something like that. So unfortunately, that food is not hermit crab safe. It actually does not deliver the nutrients to the crab that the crab needs for survival. So if you are lacking activity in your tank, that's probably a huge proponent of it. They actually probably don't have enough energy to be as active and climb around as normal because they're not getting quite the amount of nutrients they want to get. If you guys want good suggestions for foods that we like to use, guys, we have videos about it. We link them in the description to every single one of our videos. You can literally go to any video, go to the description, it's in there. You can DM us, you can comment. We will send you our favorite dry foods. We will send you the safe foods list. For you, they love vegetables, most fruits. They really like to have foraging, so we're talking about dried leaves, barks, things like that. Of course, all of these need to be hermit crab safe, which there are lists that we can 100% link for you. They're linked in our description, I think, even. So that will help tremendously, is getting their diet set to what they need nutrients wise.
And I want to say too, we have a lot of people that will say, well, the pellets are the only thing that my crabs will eat. I took them out for a little bit and they never ate anything, so I put them back in. So I like to use this kind of analogy. The teacher in me, I guess I need an analogy. But anyway, so, you know, I love cotton candy. I would eat cotton candy every day if you gave me cotton candy. Like, I love it. Who doesn't love cotton candy? Anyway, so if you gave me that, I'm going to eat it. It smells good. It tastes good. It's what I'm used to. That's kind of what the pellets are. Like, they taste good and they smell good and it's what they're used to. It's familiar, and so they eat it. But there's no nutritional value in that cotton candy for me. And if it's all that I ever ate, I would not be healthy. I would not have energy. I wouldn't be able to grow and do all those types of things. And for them, the pellet food is the same. It doesn't have the nutrients in it that they need. In fact, it actually has toxins in it that is harming them It has toxins that are keeping them from molting. Molt inhibitors are within those pellets. So they're just really, really horrible and toxic for them, even though it seems like they like to eat them. So you just have to stop
Cut it
feeding
out.
it. Yep.
They will eat.
They'll
They
eat,
will
yeah.
eat. Just give it some days. Like,
Yeah, and try different things, you
Yeah.
know, until they find something that they'll eat, and it'll get easier. So those are some ideas on food. I see that you have some extra shells. I think you have them there in the cocoa hut, so that's really good. I can't really tell what type of shells they are, because there are some shells that hermit crabs tend to prefer over others. We have a video about shells, so it will teach you how to measure them, what type of opening hermit crabs like to use, and of course we have a link on where you can buy them. So like I said, let me check some more. Let's look at some other pictures of your
oh
tank.
yeah, we're bad about that.
Yeah, let's share the other pictures. Okay, so here's the pools.
Perfect. Oh, actually, while we're looking at that, reminds me, on the back of Kathleen's tank here, we see this, I can't remember the name of the brand.
Analog.
Yes, this analog hydrometer and thermometer. These, you guys, tend to be highly inaccurate. Highly. This is often what they use in the pet stores. And you guys, truly, they do not work. We have tried with these because, you know, they are cheaper.
And they tell you,
you know, get these. Yeah, and so we did. Guys,
Yeah.
they don't work. Truly, if you want an accurate reading of the humidity and the temperature in your tank, we highly recommend a digital one. We like to use Accurite thermometers. We feel like they are the most accurate. They're easy to use. They're not super expensive. You can get them almost anywhere. Those are also linked in every single one of our videos. But awesome, good on you for having a gauge.
So, and the placement is important too. So where you have it right here is right over your pools, which have bubblers. So that's constant humidity coming up right there by that gauge, and it's in between your two heat mats. So for inactivity, Kathleen, I could be totally off, but probably what your gauge is reading is not what's actually in the tank. So if you got an accurate gauge and put it closer to the middle of your tank, away from those pools and away from the heater, you might see that you don't have as high humidity as you think, or that it's as warm as it needs to be. So that would be probably something else to really work on, I would think.
Sure.
Yeah, but it looks like you have your light, so that is very good. You have a place for them to hide, and so I think you're on the right track.
Yeah.
Like you said, you're brand new to this. So
Yeah, great start.
Yeah, great
Really
start.
a great start. Far better than ours was. So, yeah, for sure. Way to go, Kathleen. Like always, feel free, here, just go through the rest of the pictures maybe. Feel free to DM us or comment at us or tweet at us or whatever with any questions you have. We are always happy to answer those for you. But yeah, you have a great start here.
Those red shrimp, I just noticed, because now in this picture you can see it. Those are safe. Those red
and they love 'em.
river shrimp are safe to feed.
You just don't want the pellets. Really getting fresh fruits and veggies up in there will be helpful. Yeah, awesome. Great work, Kathleen. Thank you for your submission.
Good job.
Awesome. Okay, I think we have like 2 more?
3 more.
3 more. Okay, so let's do a couple more questions here, and then we'll get into another tank.
All right. Autumn asks, hang on. Do my hermit crabs need 4 water sources in the tank, salt, water / bottle to drink, then to submerge?
Oh, that's a great question, Autumn. Okay, so actually no, your hermit crabs can drink from the exact same water that they are swimming in or bathing in, whatever you want to call it. So the key with water is you want to have your salt water, which is prime treated. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. You have to make sure this water is dechlorinated, okay? So you just get your tap water, put some drops of prime in, dechlorinate it. So you need your salt water, and then you need a thing of fresh water, deep enough that your largest hermit crab can fully submerge in it. You guys, they will drink from it, they will swim around in it, they will soak in it. That's all you need. You don't need any sponges, you don't need any shallow dishes for them to drink out of.
Nope.
All you need are those 2 pools.
Yeah, and we have videos on that, so Jeff can check those out.
Yeah.
The theme of the evening. We have a video on that.
You guys check through our channel. We have tons of videos.
Yeah.
And those will help you.
For sure.
Abby asks, does Gunther have eggs?
Abby, you were on that live with me. I know. No, she does not. However, her and Monica have been hanging out quite a bit.
A lot. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Gunther has been acting I'm thinking it's coming. You guys, it's coming.
But
We're
last time I
waiting.
checked, she didn't. So not yet.
Do we have any crabs with legs right now?
So we have one
I know it's gonna
purple.
be a follow-up question.
We have one purple pincher with confirmed eggs. I have not seen her in the last couple days, so I'm hoping she didn't drop them somewhere, because usually when they're turning those eggs, they're pretty out in the open, and it's a very noticeable behavior. And I haven't seen that from her in a couple days. So, if something's not right with the eggs, they can just drop them on the sand, which is then a great protein source for your hermit crabs. But I'm hoping that's not what happened. Maybe she's just shy in a little corner or something that I just can't see. But
Yep.
she did have eggs. So
Does the entire tank have to be flat leveled sand, or can they do a 12-inch to 6-inch gradient?
Great question. So we actually experimented with this in some of our early tanks, like a big kind of slope. We found that you substantially increase your molting surface area ratio when you just have it flat. Also, the crabs, while they do climb often, climbing up the sand and the cocoa fiber is just kind of more difficult. There's not much to grab onto, and so we didn't actually see them traveling up that often.
I have seen a couple tanks where people kind of build like this barrier.
Yeah,
Almost.
and then you go up to it, like
Yeah.
climb up a ladder almost to it, and it's like this pit with like super deep.
Yeah.
That would work. But as far as it being a gradient of actual substrate, personally, I don't recommend. I don't know how you felt about it.
It's
but
not wrong or
Yeah.
bad. It's just what we experience is that it's kind of difficult for your hermit crabs. But the big thing is, if you want to do gradient, if you want to experiment with it, the big thing is that your lowest part of your gradient, you do not want to be less than 6 inches or 3 times your largest crab, because anytime you do that, you're taking away molting space, and so then you're risking overcrowding for molting and things like that. So
yeah, absolutely. Okay.
One more.
Oh, one more. Got it.
What would you say is the best type of hermit crab for beginners?
I personally think that if you are in the States, the most easily accessible through adoption, because we don't shop, is most likely going to be purple pinchers. That is the most common breed in the States. While it does vary as you travel out of the United States, that's what we've experienced here. They also don't require quite the high humidity, high temperature, things like that exotics do. So I would say for that reason, most likely purple pinchers will probably be what you start with, and what are easiest to start with, what most people start with. But I wouldn't say that there's a huge difference between all the different types. Just make sure that if you have one species, you make sure it has a friend so they can communicate.
Yeah.
That's the key.
very good. Ready for another one?
Yep.
Okay, another tank, guys. Here we go.
All right, here we go. Okay, so next we have Brian, and they say, oh, we gotta get rid of Cody's last. Here we go. Yep,
Sorry,
perfect.
guys.
All right. So Brian has a 75-gallon exotic hermit crab enclosure, 10 crabs in total, 5 Lilas, 5 brevies, my favorite. They're small brevies. They're slow growers, but they get big. Yep. They have 2 2.5-gallon tanks as their pools, 1 saltwater, 1 freshwater. Both of them are filtered. Awesome. Substrate is 8 to 9 inches deep with a 5-to-1 place sand to eco earth. Cool. Awesome. They feed dried foods like hibiscus petals, coconut, dandelion leaves, dried mealworms, dried minnows, and then also natural foods, green sand, spirinula, other types of fish. They have 4 items to climb up on, 2 mopani woods, a dried live rock, and then a choil wood piece. Awesome. Well, let's take a look at Brian's tank. It's sounding awesome. Oh, yep. It's awesome. Cool. Oh, I'm so excited. Look, they have live plants in the water. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And the little, crab guy that I feel like every hermit crab owner has. Okay, well, let's talk about this.
All right, I see a lot of really great things. Your 2 pools are awesome. We use those in a couple of our tanks as well. I love that you have some live plants in there. Filtering, I'm sure, is making life so much easier for you.
I'm loving the colors. It looks so fun in there.
Yeah, I have lots of climbing items, lots of places to hide. This is a great example, you guys, of having decor throughout your whole tank so that your hermit crabs feel safe wherever they are in the tank. So, instead of having everything in one line or all along the back, so that's a great idea. Let's see what else. We have your gauge. I see that you have the Accurite gauge that we were talking about.
Awesome little shell shop. Oh, well, it's not in this. Oh, look at all this food, you guys, in the back. Oh my goodness, a full buffet. Yeah. You guys.
Great shell shop. Some sphagnum moss there for them to munch on and hide in. Yep. Also, moss next to your pool is a great idea because any kind of splash over that you might have, your moss is going to absorb that, you guys. And so Brian has placed this in just the right spot. Also, it looks like we've got lots of shells, some greenery.
You guys, this is the Accurite thermometer that I was talking about. Brian, I might suggest that you move that a little bit. Like we've talked about with some of the other tanks, it is best to be as close to the middle of the tank that you can get it, preferably a little bit off the substrate, but as close to the middle tank is best, just so you can get the most accurate reading of it. But that's a great digital thermometer to have there. So
right, here's the other side of the tank. You've got the Mopani wood, some more shells there in the corner with a little shelf, which is nice because it adds some climbing for them.
You guys, those shell shops are immensely popular. We've had many of them. They're just the little bathroom caddies that you can get at almost any store that you're meant to put like soap in and stuff. They make wonderful shell shops, wonderful moss pits. I see like Spirinella like he was talking about. Yeah, this is looking great.
In the pools, you guys can see here that the filters are, again, the spill line is below the pool. Yep. So important. So great job with that, Brian, as well.
Brian, I'm going to tell you what I've told so many before. A wheel. I'm saying it. I'm saying it. Every crab needs a wheel. And also, I forgot to mention this with the last person I recommended a wheel to, but they do sell metal wheels with little like holes in them, which often people think, oh, that's going to be great, like the crabs can climb on it. Guys, we don't recommend that one. It's prone to rusting.
Your crab legs can get stuck in there, and it can like break off tips of their legs and stuff. So.
So we just get the plastic ones here. Now some people like to get real crafty with it and get craft mesh and like put craft mesh on the inside of the wheel for the crabs to climb on. If you want to do that, go for it. We personally don't because our guys use it anyway. But
our wheel back there does have some. We have one that does and one that doesn't.
Wow, the more you know. That one sure does.
I have a question. Yeah, that's true. The one over there doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have a question. In the middle of your tank is like a something white coming down in the middle. I'm wondering if you have a humidifier, maybe. I'm also noticing on the walls of your tank a lot of condensation, so that's making me think maybe humidifier. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, please, but it's a great time to just talk about humidifiers, even if this doesn't happen to be one. You want to stay away from humidifiers, you guys. For one, if you are using 5:1 substrate at 6 inches or more, you have a heater and you have the correct size pools and your tank is completely sealed, that is going to create the environment that you need for your hermit crabs. You do not need to have extra humidifier. And so what that does is it saturates your substrate quickly and then can cause molding, bacterial blooms, and floods pretty quickly. So if you're having drops in humidity often, there's probably something else that we need to work with. In this particular case, you can move your pools to the back wall by your heater, which would help to have more humidity. You could add bubblers to your pools, which again would add more humidity. Yep. Make sure your lid is totally sealed, and that sort of thing. Yeah. So you can also add more decor, like wood. It actually holds the heat, which will help the water and the heat together, creates your humidity. So those are kind of some ideas. If your heat is not high enough, then you can't create the humidity, is what I was getting at with that. So insulating your tank could also help to bring the temperature up as well. All right, now I will say there are some very rare occasions where some of those things are not enough. Like if you live in a very arid place like the desert or something, and then DM us and we will troubleshoot with you guys. But humidifiers are usually
Generally
not a good
solution. Yeah, for
So,
sure.
All right. So I think we made it through all the pictures.
Yeah, your tank is looking great, Brian. I think there's actually one more tank, pick number 4. That's the food.
Yeah.
Got it. Yep.
Awesome.
Perfect. Yeah, your foods are looking delicious. I'm sure your crabbies are very happy, Brian. Beautiful tank. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for submitting.
Great job.
Yeah. All right, let's do a couple more questions here. And
you don't want to add one more thing about Brian.
Oh, okay.
The number of crabs. I think you had 10 crabs and a 75, which you said that they were smaller, so that's totally fine. But especially with brevies, they are going to get big,
Huge,
really big. So just so that you're planning ahead, that you'll definitely need some more space eventually.
Yeah.
So, all right, here we go, you guys. Next tank is.
Oh yeah, let's do this tank and then let's answer some questions. That's a good idea. All right, Mariola. Awesome. They say hi. They live in the Netherlands and they have had crabs for 2 years now. Fell in love with them in Costa Rica and discovered that they could be pets in Florida. This is their second tank. Decided to buy and build this one after looking at many of your YouTube videos. Aw, that's awesome. Almost gave up again when a crabby died. No experienced owners, so no information in the Netherlands. Then through Google, they found Crab Central Station. And so now they saved one that came out of his shell. So yay, that's awesome. All right, so the tank is 1 meter long, 50 centimeters deep, 50 centimeters high. 2 crabs live there now, and they would love to get 2 more. Cool. Oh, they made the back of the tank, like the backdrop of it themselves, inspired by our video. That's so cool. 2 temperature meters, 1 meter is hanging with the sign outside in red lights. This one can turn the heat bulb on and off when needed, and then 1 temp and humidity meter in the middle on a popsicle stick. Awesome. Half is sand, half is coconut fiber, and it gets deeper towards the back. 13 centimeters. Awesome. The left is like a jungle, the right is the beach. 2 water places, salt and sweet. I think fresh is what that means, yeah. They feed them chopped vegetables and, ow, I hurt my foot. Some fruit, egg, pasta, rice, dried fruit, noodle, nuts, seeds. Oh, she's also a teacher. That's so cool. Okay, awesome. Let's talk about this.
Cool.
Oh, this is beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful. Wow, I love this. Okay.
Nice job on your background.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that is gorgeous. I'm loving the different levels of the wood back in that left corner. I love the kind of like lay flowers on the sides and the vines.
It's like a rock wall over here with the rope and the shells. That's so cool.
I'm loving this. This is so fun looking. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. And the shells are so little. I'm assuming that means your crabs are little babies. That is so fun.
All right. So this looks like what we could compare to our toppers, which they are 36. Like they're 3 feet long and 18 wide and 18 high. So that's like a 40-gallon. And so you have 2 crabs in there and you're wanting to get 2 more, so that's plenty of space. So that would work out great.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So one thing I'm noticing here is your substrate. So I see that you actually have half that is coconut fiber and half that is play sand. And I've actually seen this style done quite frequently. I think a lot of pet stores actually market hermit crabs like this. So you actually want to mix that coconut fiber and that play sand together. And I will say you don't want to mix it all together. You want to do that 5-to-1 that we were talking about earlier in our live. So take a good portion of that coconut fiber out and then add some more play sand and mix it all together. You really want it to look just like this behind us. So this is that 5-to-1 ratio. It pretty much just looks like sand. Like we've talked about, that's going to help them hold their molt caves better, less chance of collapsing. It's going to be better for your heat and humidity, things like that, less risk of fungus, mold, bacterial blooms, things like that. Also, you said it was 13 centimeters. You're gonna want it to be a little bit deeper, so I don't know what 6 inches is in centimeters.
So that's about 5 inches. So your crabs are really small, so that might be okay for right now.
But as they grow,
Yeah.
you're gonna want to think about your substrate being deep enough that your largest crab can go down 3 times. Okay,
Yeah.
so right now you're probably fine since your crabs are looking pretty small, but as they grow, that's just something to think about.
Although once you're mixing that up, if you want to add another inch, that would be
Wouldn't
helpful.
hurt, yeah.
Very good. Let's see if there's some more pictures.
Man, I can't get over it. It
Okay,
just
here's
looks
your
so fun.
water pool. So you already talked about that. You have them doubled up, which is really good. You've got your salt and your fresh water. Really cool idea with your ladders. However, I can see, especially in this front one, your jute rope is actually wicking up the water and it's starting to travel down. And so over time, that jute rope is going to take your water from your pool and put it into your substrate.
Right into the substrate.
So maybe try some craft mesh or some plastic. I know in the craft section here, there's some thin plastic, like I don't even know what you call it, but you can make keychains out of it and stuff like that. Anyways, if you could find like a plastic that you could weave instead of the jute, that would be super helpful, or just a different way of doing the ladder altogether.
Yeah, but super cute.
Yeah,
Just
so cute.
it will probably eventually flood your tank.
Yeah.
So
I love this back wall here. We have the shells for them to climb, and you used cocoa fiber, which is perfectly good. You have some hides in there as well. So that's
aesthetically
nice.
pleasing. I
Yes.
love this tank.
A lot of great natural wood, all these little stepping stones, and I love you just have it like, it's very aesthetic. I love the look of it. It's so natural looking.
Super fun. And your thermometer that you were talking about looks to be in a pretty good place. Well, is it against the back?
It is. Well, this one here, this white one here in the middle, you guys, if you want to just lift it up off the sub a little bit, so
Right.
if you just turn a dish over and set it up on top of a dish, that would work. But it is in the middle of your tank, so now we just need to get it off the sub,
Yeah.
because it's reading the moisture within your substrate instead of the moisture in the air.
Yeah.
So that would be something to maybe just to consider. See if there's another picture. Here's another one. So I can't tell if the light is in the tank. Maybe is that light in the tank? It looks like it might be.
I don't know. If the light is in the tank, you don't want to do that because lights emit heat. It'll zap your humidity right out of the air. Also, it's just not super safe for the crabs. However, if your light is on top of the tank, then you're chilling.
Yeah. It can create hot spots on your
Yeah.
substrate as well. So definitely, I would not put your light inside the tank. I think this is a shell shop over here in the corner next to the flowers, which is really cool. So you've got your extra shells in there, which is good. Okay, I see your thermometer gauge for
Yep.
your control. Very good.
That's
I want to see.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect. Yeah, this is looking really, really great. Mariola, I really love your tank. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah,
Lots of
great job.
enrichment for your crabbies. Lots of climbing, lots of hiding. Wonderful job. Awesome.
Very, very
Thank
good.
you so much
Yeah.
for your submission.
Great job on your 3D background. That
looks
so
sick. That
pretty.
looks
Yeah.
great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, we're going to do a couple questions and
And then
then
one
we
more?
just have one more.
Alright, I have to find some questions now because we're all talking in the comments. By the way, you guys are so awesome in the comments. Y'all are all so nice and respectful. and
Good.
Y'all are really great.
Thank you guys so much. We really want this to be a safe place for just constructive, I guess, criticism and like respectful comments. You know, like she said at the beginning of the live, everyone starts somewhere. We started with our hermit crabs on kitty litter, you guys, on cat litter. Our hermit
That's
crabs
what they were
started
sold
on.
to us, and
They were
they
sold
said-
to us in that, and they said keep them on it.
Yep.
Now, of course, we got home and we were like, I don't think this is right. So eventually we moved to Eco or things like that. But you guys, everyone starts somewhere. We have tried all of the things that we now tell you guys not to do.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Or you got a question?
Let's see, is anyone sending questions? How do you get Zoe out of water?
So I think
I've seen
that
that
question was asked earlier, and I think that I think that we might have misunderstood the question.
Oh.
I think what you're going for is once the Zoe are ready to transfer to land, how does that go? I think that's what you're probably asking. So the process with that is after the Zoe do their time in the chrysalis, and they've gone through all of their sheds, all of their molts, they have their legs, they're ready to go. We have this thing called a transition tank. And so we actually like take the water that they're in, and there's this big bridge. It's like we actually were talking to Stacy literally like 2 days ago. I said Stacy, I meant to say Mary, sorry. We were also talking to Stacy, but we were talking to Mary Akers a few days ago, and she was saying like this bridge that she has to bridge the babies from the water to the land is like this super long journey. And she was saying like the babies are so teeny tiny little, like with their teeny tiny little shells that they take right before they go onto land, like that this bridge must seem like this huge like monstrous like feat to get across. But basically they get up with their teeny tiny little shells that they just got, and they go across this bridge to the land, and pretty much immediately they go there, eat food, and molt. So yeah.
All right. How many hermit crabs do we have?
Right now we have 45, but that number changes because we foster, we adopt, we rescue. So we adopt out.
Is that including all these
So
babies?
we rehabilitate and then we, adopt them out. So
That is including
Is
these babies?
hand feeding like crabs considered safe?
yeah.
So like putting your hand.
Yeah, so if you're putting your hand in the tank and allowing your crab to come to you to eat the food off, or if you're just holding the food out and the crab is coming and pinching it, that's totally safe. I mean, you might freak your crabs out, but they might get used to it. I think crabs have different personalities, so like some of my crabs would be totally okay with that. Others would run and hide as soon as I took the lid off.
Yeah.
So I would just kind of,
Feel it out.
yeah. If your crabs seem scared, then it's not worth it. But if they seem to not mind, then you could definitely try it. If you're taking your crab out of the tank, like to your table or your bed or something like that, I don't advise that because that's definitely going to freak them out. And it's not good for them to be out of their tank, out of their environment. So definitely don't do that.
For sure.
We have a follow-up question. How do you know when to put the Zoe in the transition tank?
So that is the final larval stage is when they transition to be megalopa, and that is when they have their claws and all of their legs.
So when we are raising Zoe, we are with them all day basically doing water changes and things like that, and so you really become familiar with what stage they're on because you're pipetting them out of the water and things like that, and so you really can see them you can't actually really because they're so small, but like with magnifying glasses and things like that, so you notice like, oh my goodness, they're starting to get claws, or oh my goodness, their eyes are getting bigger, they can hold food, things like that. Yes, so it's definitely like once you start seeing like, oh, they have claws, oh, they have legs, like they're ready to start making the transition.
So I have 2 places that you can, if you're really interested in this, other than attending CrabCon, you can go to Mary Akers' blog. Just Google Mary Akers' blog and MaryAkers.com. So you can read all about her attempts and all the stages.
Truly
amazing.
Highly recommend that.
Yes. We blogged about our experience last summer, and that's on our website, www.crabsandgestation.com. And so we called it Journey to Land, CCS Journey to Land 1 and CCS Journey to Land 2. And so you can read about that there. Now, we did not make it to Megalopa. We lost our Zoe before that stage, but you can still see some video. You can see, you can see Gunther's spawn, which is so beautiful. So,
and I'll just remind you to check our social medias in the next 2 days, 4 days, something like that.
Yep.
Something is coming up where you can hear about breeding.
Oh, yeah.
And we talk more about it than we ever have. So just
yes, that's true.
Keep watching.
Keep your eyes peeled.
Special announcement.
Yeah, there's one
Instagram
coming.
and Facebook.
Instagram and Facebook. Couple days here.
All right. Last question. Is it true last question for this section. Is it true hermit crabs can gain and lose gonopores during molts? So I guess it means changing gender.
Great question.
So this is a debatable topic in the hermit crab community. It has not been proven scientifically yet. However, we have developed a way to track a hermit crab so that you can know for sure, regardless of their size or the shell or molts, that you are tracking the same exact hermit crab. So it's kind of like a fingerprint on your hermit crab's large pincher. They have a setae pattern, and it's special to that hermit crab. It's different on each and every hermit crab. So that's how you can track it. And so we do have people within the hermit crab community tracking hermit crabs and documenting whether they are changing their sex or not. Personally, if you just want to know my opinion, I say yes, they can.
Stay tuned. That'll probably be proven true or false pretty soon here.
And
so.
to clarify, we are not tracking that.
No,
Yeah.
we're not.
A lot of crabs.
We're doing some other parts of collecting data and research, but that's not one of them that we're
Maybe in the
doing.
future.
Yeah. All right. Y'all can go. to the
Oh
next
yes.
thing.
All right, guys. Last
Woo!
tank. Here we go.
Okay, so our last tank comes to us from, what does that say? Christina. All right. So Christina says, hey guys, so I'm brand new to hermit crab care. And it's been an overwhelming journey. Yep. It's been really fun, but always worrying because I was doing so much wrong for the first 2 weeks I had them. I actually had one pass away, tomato like, tomatoa like from Hawaii. I'm gonna try this one more time. You guys. Tomatoa like from Moana, okay, and was replaced with Shiny because I know they do better in pairs and didn't want Mr. Krabs to be alone. I bought them for classroom pets, another teacher, but I have brought them to my house to do further research into caring for them since Tomatoa passed away, and they couldn't tell me and point her in the right direction at the pet store. They weren't a good source of knowledge. Yep. She must admit she's not very savvy with the caretaking, but was glad to find our channel. Awesome. So they are currently in a 10-gallon undergoing the PPDS method. They're going on week number 2, and they're doing much better. That's wonderful to hear. They've changed the sand before. They used to have calcium sand, and they've since learned that that's very bad for them. True. You guys, pause right here actually. If you're wondering why calcium sand is bad for your crabs and you haven't heard yet, typically that's actually sold with your crabs. It's very marketable because it's colorful and it's shiny, and usually you find your hermit crabs on it at the pet store. Calcium sand is bad, you guys, because when it gets wet, it can actually cement in the back of the hermit crab shell, and it will glue the hermit crab into its shell. That hermit crab will die. So we don't use calcium sand. Anyways, they have since learned that this was very bad for them. Yep, things are happening. Mom, I can't read.
Sorry.
Okay. They also had them eating pellets. They hated it. Yep. Okay, awesome. They have been put on a better diet. They're using Prime and Instant Ocean now instead of pet store brand, changing the sub. They're active and crawling everywhere and very noisy. Yay! They love tapping on the glass, sometimes annoying my sleeping bearded dragon. They're getting a 20-gallon tall ready for them when they move over. I'm super excited. I do have one question. I bought a heating pad 6x23 for the 20-gallon. Can I still use it on the 10-gallon even though it's a little longer, or should I buy one the size of the 10-gallon? Okay, awesome. So also she's included her dog Scooby and her bearded dragon Spike, and the hermit crabs are Mr. Krabs and Shiny, and another bearded dragon is Blaze. Okay, cool, awesome.
I'm going to answer your question real quick so I don't forget to come back to it. So I would go ahead and just purchase a heating mat the size that you need for your 10-gallon. For one, it is great to have an ISO tank. I cannot tell you how many times we are constantly using that isolation tank. And when you're talking about a 10-gallon tank that's not very big, and so the heating pad that you need is also not very big or too expensive. So to me, it's 100% worth it to go ahead and just buy a small heat mat for your 10-gallon tank, and then you just always have a safe place to put your hermit crabs in the case that you would ever need it, which I hope you don't, but
if you
it's
do,
good to be prepared.
Right.
All right.
Okay, let's check this out. Oh my goodness, the dog.
Scooby's got
my goodness.
He has a teepee or a
Too
tent.
cute. Wow, this is
That's
awesome. First of all
cute.
of your enclosures look absolutely amazing. Love this. Okay,
So cool.
let's take a look.
All right, so just a reminder, everybody watching, PPS there's a video on it. We have a video on it. So this is a great place to start when you first get your crabs from the beach or
Highly
the pet
recommended.
store, or anywhere where you're getting crabs from less than ideal situation and care. Then PPS is perfect. So this is a way to slowly acclimate your hermit crabs into the correct conditions so you don't shock their system. The number one goal here in PPS, you guys, is to get them fed and watered, like food and water, constant food and water, because when they get to you after the horrendous just treatment that they've been through from the wild to you, they've been without food and they've been without water for a long time.
They're starved and dehydrated and on the brink of death.
Yeah, honestly.
So, yeah.
And so they really are going to want to molt. They're going to want to de-stress. They're going to want to dig under immediately. And any of you who didn't know about PPS, which a lot of us didn't, you knew as soon as you put your crabs in their new enclosure, they dug down and you're like, well, what is this? Like, I never even see them and they never come out. And a lot of times they die because they don't have the food and the water to make it through that molt. So PPS is the best thing to do to get all that nutrition back in their system, get them rehydrated before putting them into a tank that has really deep substrate where they're going to be able to molt and survive that molt. Okay, so that's what this is.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to mention that you guys can see right here. By the way, the hermit crab tank is going to be the one on top of the table to the left, the smaller 10-gallon. You'll see here that she doesn't have a lot of substrate, which in any other regular tank we would usually recommend to put more substrate in. But in this case, this is perfect because the goal is to not let your hermit crab molt. You actually want to force it, well, not force it to eat, but that's kind of what you're doing. You're trying to get it to eat as much as it can and drink as much as it can so that it can rehydrate and get some more nutrients in. So this substrate level is perfect actually for the PPS method.
You can even remove a little bit, honestly. I don't know how big your crabs are, but you could get away with removing some if you want. All right.
You can see here lots of foods are offered and a lot of high protein foods. High protein is key when you're doing PPS because it's going to help get those nutrients up. Also lots of calcium. Things like that.
Yes, get them ready to be able to molt. I like that you have climbing. It's natural wood. They love cholla wood. It's very easy for them to climb. It's a great choice. They will also eat it. Lots of plants here. I would say maybe remove some of the hides that you have just because it's PPS. And if you give them a place to hide, they will definitely hide. Remember, they're very stressed. And so they can't dig down because we haven't given them enough substrate to do that, but they'll go and hide and then they won't eat and drink. So not that you can't have anything in your tank, but I would do very minimal.
Yeah.
Very, very minimal. So maybe just take a couple of those out.
But that's great once you move them into that 20-gallon that you were talking about. Great.
Yep, so I might even remove this little hide that you have here and like Faith said, put it in your forever tank for them. It is a great structure. It's safe, just maybe not the best for PPS right now. Your gauge, I do see that you have some fluctuations in there, so I know that you're really working at trying to keep their environment lower because they're coming, that's the whole idea behind PPS, is they're coming from low humidity and low heat, and so you each week increase slowly the heat and humidity, and so sometimes in PPS that means you have to vent your lid because it's getting too humid and that sort of thing. So I can tell that you're working on that, so great job.
Awesome. Yeah.
It takes a lot of patience and time to do that.
Yes.
So I think we saw that one.
I think those are the pictures.
Okay.
Yeah. Perfect.
All right.
Awesome. Your pools are looking great. They look deep enough. There's bubblers, which is awesome. Very easy to get in and out. Yep. And so that's looking awesome.
Yeah.
I see some moss in here, which is great. Another added food source for them. Yeah, this is looking great. You guys, if you have any questions about PPS, PPDS, it also goes by. We have lots of information about this on our channel, videos about it, and then also if you go over to Lyco's Crab Street Journal, there are files upon files about doing PPS, PPDS. It truly gives your crab such a higher chance of survival after if you've purchased it from a less than ideal place.
Yep.
So yeah,
and be patient and trust the process.
Yep.
It will be worth it in the long run. So yes, and I would definitely get a heat mat for that 10-gallon. That's going to help you regulate the heat and the humidity, which looks like maybe is a little bit challenging right now.
Yeah.
So.
But you're doing great,
Yes.
especially for a new crabby parent. I mean, it took us forever to even find out about PPS, so you really are on the right track, and I promise you, your crabs are thanking you.
Yes. And Christina, I'm so glad that you shared that with us live, because so many viewers don't know about PPS, and I think that's the first PPS tank maybe that we've had.
Reviewed, yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. That's great.
Yes, thank you so much for your submission, Christina. You are doing awesome. All right, you guys, so that's actually, all 7 of the tanks that we reviewed on this live today. That was super fun. Usually we film it, but this has actually been super awesome. I really like interacting with you guys in between. We're gonna open the floor to a couple more questions, just to kind of round out this live, and we will be posting it to our channel after we're done. So if ever you want to come back and see certain things we were talking about, like I said, this was an opportunity to learn from people. So here we are.
Katie asks, do we need heat mats on a second level of tank?
It really depends on where you live, on the temperature you keep your house. We do not have heat mats on our toppers, but this particular room in our house stays very warm.
It's burning up in here.
It stays really warm in this room. So, however, I used to have tanks in my laundry room with toppers, and I did have a heat mat on my toppers in the laundry room because that room got a lot cooler. I also had heat mats on my toppers at school, again, because it's cooler. So it really depends on your tank and where you live. And so if you're having a hard time keeping your heat up, add the heat mat.
Yep.
Will you be at CrabCon 2021 this year?
We will.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
come see us. We are a main stage speaker, so we are there.
It is an online event this year, but hopefully next year it'll be in person.
Yes, so everything's online, so everybody can go, no matter what, you can go. And the base ticket is $10. You have access to all the talks for $10. You guys, you can't go wrong. You get the shopping.
Yeah.
So it's 100% worth it.
So worth it, you guys. Like, I cannot, even if you don't have all of this crazy stuff that we have, even if you have like just a couple crabs, like, it truly is so worth it. There are so many experienced and wonderful people talking about so many interesting things at CrabCon. We've been in person, and this year we'll be going virtually, and we were virtual last year, and seriously, you guys, every single time, it is so worth it. It's such a wonderful thing to be surrounded by people who you share a hobby with, who have been through the same situation as you. You guys, $10, you can't beat it. We'll link it in the chat.
And it's international. That's the cool part about it being virtual is that it's international. So that's really
if there's a year you're gonna go, you want to go, this is definitely the year.
All right. What water do you use for the spray bottle? I am doing PPS right now.
Fresh water. Yeah, just fresh water, and drop some prime in your, just 1 drop of prime should be enough, because 2 drops is for a gallon. I'm guessing your spray bottle is smaller than that. So 1 drop in your spray bottle and you're good to go.
Yep.
For those of you listening, don't spray your tanks, but PPS, sometimes you have to spray some moss. There's just a little bit of substrate in there. And so sometimes you do have to kind of help the humidity a little bit in that situation.
But in a permanently set up tank, not as much.
Yeah.
All right. Patty says, I'm moving August 1st. 2 crabs came up from a molt and 1 went down. Can I leave the 2 guys that came up until the last minute and then move them to a temporary tank?
Yeah, yes. So a temporary tank or a tote is totally fine, like we said, temporarily. Plastic storage bins really work pretty well because you can drill holes in them to hang their cocoa huts and all that. And so, yeah, I would just wait till the last possible minute. You don't want them to be in there for, a really long time, but also you're moving. And so Better, since they're up now, better to put them in a temporary tote than dig them up during the molting process. So, yep.
All right. Monica asks, how do I lower my humidity? It goes up to 99 at night sometimes.
So, Monica, this is a great question, and definitely heat and humidity are hard to get a control of. So part of that could possibly have to do with conditions in your tank. You definitely want to check out how close your little gauge thing is to your water pools, like we've been talking about, because that could throw off how it's reading. You want to make sure that it's up off the substrate a couple inches. You can just put it on top of the dish in the middle of your tank. If you do that and it's still reading really high, check and see how much like wet moss you have. If you have a ton of just soaking wet moss, that's going to be increasing the humidity in your tank. If all of this you've checked, all of your ropes and your twine and everything like that's in your tank, if that's all checking out, your little hydrometer's checking out, and you live in a really humid place, you might just have to vent your
load a little bit.
Make
sure that you're home for that. Also, check and see if your pool is next to your heater. If you have your pool against the back wall, we saw that in some of the tanks tonight. The pools were against the back wall, up against the heater, and that's going to create more humidity.
Right.
If you're using bubblers, you can shut those off while you're having high humidity. Mm-hmm. Also, check your heat, because if your heat is too low, your humidity is going to be higher. If your heat is too high, your humidity is going to be low. So it's really finding the balance between those things. So you might need a bigger heater, or you might need to insulate your tank. So those are some things you can check. You can always place dry moss in there, because the dry moss or the cocoa fiber that we saw in one of the tanks tonight as well, those absorb moisture in the air, and so that'll help to bring down your humidity as well.
Yeah.
And we have a video on that.
Yep.
Let me see if I can find the title.
There's a video on that.
It is called 8 Tips to Help with Humidity in Your Hermit Crab Tank.
There you go.
So check it out.
And
go ahead.
I believe in that video we talk about if you're having low humidity issues and high humidity issues, so it goes both ways.
And we have 2 super chats. The first one is from Katie Adams. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Katie.
And the second one is from Patty's Petite Tanks. And she says, just want to say how very grateful I am for you and the Hermit Crab community. XOXO.
Oh, well, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Patty. That is too sweet.
Thank y'all so much.
Thank you guys for all of your support. Genuinely, thank you.
Any super chat, any money that you guys donate goes right into our breeding program, which we are about to hit peak season on that. So truly, thank you so much, because we have to order all kinds of crazy food that you don't normally have for your crabs. So thank you very, very much.
Abby asks, is your setup the biggest in the world?
Great question, Abby.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's the biggest in the world. I would say that there are probably ones that are similar to or larger. Personally, it's the biggest I've ever seen.
There was a guy doing half a room or something like that.
Yeah, there have been massive setups. It's actually really easy in other parts of the world, or other parts even of the United States that are higher in temperature, higher in humidity, to kind of make massive tank builds like this, because it's easier to keep humidity and things like that going. So they'll actually just like build it into the room. It's really interesting. I don't know how it works, because it would never work in Texas. But those are just like massive builds. But I would say in Texas, sure we're the biggest tank in Texas.
Actually, legit, probably.
Yeah.
All right. We have another super chat from Patty.
Oh, thank you, Patty.
Thank you for the second super chat. She says, I have tiny turbo shells that I purchased, and I'd love to send them to you.
Yes, please.
Yes, thank you so much. We would love that. If you will DM us on Facebook or on Instagram, we would love to get that set up with you, because we are always needing tiny shells, you guys, always, for our breeding program.
Very, very first shells that they take as Megaloba are so hard to find, but they need growth shells. I mean, you're talking about thousands of Zoe, and hopefully getting to land, you have hundreds, and so that's a lot of shells.
Lots of shells, yeah. You guys, interesting fact, when those first shells that they take when they get to land, after they are little Zoe, they're so small that Mary actually gets just a tub of sand, and she digs through the sand to find the tiny little shells. Like, it's that small, like grain of sand small. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
So.
All right. Ro asks, one end of my tank ends up with 75%-ish humidity, while the other ends up 99 consistently. The heat is consistent everywhere. Is that safe for them?
Something leads to tell me that if you have two separate gauges, the gauge in the 99% part seems to be off. Actually, I've noticed when our gauges are off, they just shoot up to 99. It's like a factory set issue.
That seems very, very odd to be that big of a difference within a tank, and unless you have a huge tank. But I mean, I have a 6-foot tank right here, and our range is not that different. Now you can have a range, safe range in your tanks, you guys, and naturally you will. You will definitely have some parts of your tank a little bit warmer than others and a little bit more humid than others. But you know, that's why we put your gauge in the middle, because that's telling you that there is a safe place within the tank. And then as you go out from that, it's probably gonna, you know, vary a little bit. But your hermit crabs will go to where they need to be at that time. Remember too that your hermit crabs carry shell water. That's why they need to be able to fully submerge, and so that helps to keep their gills moist as well.
Yep. Yeah, I would check your thermometer and hydrometer, and like, I don't know, maybe it's by a water pool or like in some moss or something.
Yeah.
Just check out that, because I've never heard of that before. If you do all that and you're still having issues, DM us and we can troubleshoot with you for sure.
Yep.
He replied, his gauge reads 75% at one end of the tank, and if they swap it to the opposite end, it also reads 99. So they don't think it's a gauge issue.
That is crazy. If you would, take some pictures of your tank and DM them to us at Crab Central Station on Instagram or Facebook, which is just Crab Central. That would be awesome, because I think if we maybe saw your tank, maybe we would see something that's causing that. So yeah, sorry we don't have an answer for you right now while we're live, but DM us and we might be able to help you out.
Let's see, any other questions? I think we've answered all the new ones I got. Let me see if I can scroll up.
You guys, if you have any questions, any at all, Q&A about us, about our crabs.
Yep, it doesn't have to be about crabs.
It doesn't have to be about crabs, yeah.
If you haven't already subscribed,
yes,
subscribe
please. It helps us so much, you guys. Like, YouTube is slowly becoming, like, it is one of my, like, full-time jobs, and it's a lot and a lot of work. So when you guys, like, leave your sweet comments and come to our lives and send us those sweet messages and subscribe and like our videos, like, you have no idea how much that encourages us to continue to make content. So yeah, thank y'all.
Cody asks, do you name all of your crabs?
We used to have cute little themes, like Mom's school tank had like a strawberry shortcake theme, and then our home one had like a Friends theme, and that's how we have like Gunther and Monica. But as we slowly got more and more crabs, we realized it is just too difficult to keep up with them. So most of our crabs that were named, we still do have names for, because somehow they're also the crabs with like the most personality. I don't really know how that worked out. But our new crabs, we don't really name.
Yeah. Brooke didn't name hers, really, is what it comes down to. So we combined our crabs into the big build together. And she had a couple crabs that she gave names to, but the majority of them she didn't name. And I named all of mine. And so I still call all of my crabs by their name. And then the others are like, oh, Brooke's crab. Oh, Brooke's crab.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of names, okay? I just couldn't.
Well, and when we get new crabs, we don't. Like, when we take in adoptees and stuff, we don't usually
it depends.
name them.
If it's going to be a crab that we're going to keep in our main colony, then we'll give them a name. But if it's a crab that we're fostering or we're rehabilitating to adopt out, I don't name those ones because they're going to be somebody else's.
Yeah. How many crabs, okay, we have this question again, but just because it's a little later, how many crabs do you have in the 700 gallons?
So right now we have 45 crabs, and That is, of course, always fluctuating, like we've talked about before, because we are rehabilitators and adopters. We take in fosters, we take in crabs that we help to get better, and then we adopt them out. So that number is always changing, but right now we have 45.
Let's see. And if anyone has questions about our tank build, we are here to answer it. I know we've done 2 videos on it, but you know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you want to watch a really relaxing and awesome video about our tank, our 700-gallon tank reveal, we posted a couple months ago, and I'll just say it's pretty relaxing to watch. So.
All right. Billy asks, what is the oldest crab that you have, or the longest that you have had one?
Good question. Actually, the longest we've had a crab, what comes to my mind is Cappy.
Yeah.
So we have a one-eyed crab named Cappy. He was one of the first hermit crabs we ever purchased from a beach shop, from that initial trip that we took. We purchased him with one eye, and he has never ever grown that eye back. He is living life without it. So he's probably one of the ones we've had the longest, but he's definitely not the oldest. It's funny because when we were at the beach shop and we went to go purchase our crabs, we only wanted the teeny tiny ones. Like, the smallest ones we could find were the ones we wanted to get, and Cappy was the biggest. And he was big, and he had one eye. And that's the thing. So he was the biggest, but he's actually tiny in comparison to some of the monsters we have now. So he's actually pretty young, and also has stunted growth because of the conditions that he was in. We always joked like he was the ugliest because he was the biggest one, and he was in like the weirdest shell, and he had one eye, but now he's like one of my favorites.
He's really cute.
Yeah, he's super cute. So he has
and Darcy was freaked out by the big ones in the beginning.
Yeah.
So she refused to get any big ones, and now look at us.
And
now I love the jumbos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're so cool.
Yep. The oldest crab we have right now, I mean, what's our biggest jumbo right now? A Brevi maybe, or?
It would be one that we adopted that somebody else had. I think we have somebody that has had the crab 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
So.
But age you can't really tell.
Yeah, who knows how old they were when they had them, but before they got them, but they had them for 10 years, and then they just, life happens, and they needed to rehome their crab, and so I know we have 2 crabs at least
that are 10-ish.
10 years.
Yep.
All right. Egg asks, how can I play with my hermit crabs?
Yeah, great question. So when we first got crabs, we definitely took them out of the tank, put them on the ground, held them, all of that, kind of exposing us. But we have since learned that hermit crabs are not animals to be handled. If you were looking for an animal to be handled, that's more on the mammal side of things, that's hamsters, guinea pigs. Yeah, not hermit crabs. It stresses them out a lot. They're just not meant to be handled. They're meant to be looked at. If you're looking to play with your hermit crab, the best thing you can do is get it enrichment in the tank. Things like wheels, places for it to climb. Just putting that in there is enrichment and playing for them. Yeah, these little cat toys, I can't point. I'm
foraging.
There's one right behind me. They'll actually toss them around like a ball.
While they push them.
Where they push it, yeah. But I've seen one pick one up and fling it. Okay. Bridges, coconut huts, things like that. And then you just kind of watch it. That's what the crabs are about. So if you're looking for a handling pet, though, I don't know that hermit crabs are for you. So.
All right. Let's see. Heather says, I homeschool my kids, and we got hermit crabs a year ago and learned a lot from your channel, how to take care of them, etc. Do you have any other resources for educators or fun unit study things on crabs?
So on the crabstreetjournal.org website, crabstreetjournal.org, they actually have something called Claws in the Classroom, and there are lessons there. There's color sheets, there are care guides that you can print out, and so that's a great resource for teachers. I know that I used that in the beginning in my classroom. They adopt classrooms. Actually, those of you that are teachers and watching this, if you're wanting to have hermit crabs in the classroom, they can adopt you and help you get the supplies that you need for your classroom. So food and shells and that sort of thing, prime, salt, and all that. So it's a great program, Claws in the Classroom, crabstreetjournal.org.
Check it out.
All right. And you can also DM us and see if we can help you out there too. Can I put a topper on a 10-gallon tank?
So 10-gallon tanks are not very wide, and most of your other tanks of any size are going to be wider or deeper. And so it creates a gap when you turn it into a topper. So honestly, you should have 2 hermit crabs in the least because they need a buddy and they need 10 gallons per crab. So you're really looking at a 20-gallon as
A starter.
tank. So 10 gallons we use more for isolation tanks or a PPS and that sort of thing. So you really want to look at upgrading. If you have a 10-gallon, I wouldn't invest in a whole lot in trying to put a topper on a 10-gallon personally, because you're going to need a bigger tank pretty soon. 10-gallon runs out of space really fast once you add their 2 pools, their dish, their foraging, their enrichment. It's just not enough space. So
I have seen in some cases 10 gallons being used as a topper. It's kind of difficult because you have to like do stuff with the plexiglass and like create support. It's not the easiest tank to use as a topper, but I've seen that happen before. So.
All right. Abby asks, can you put a time lapse on your tanks?
Oh, that's a good question. So we have a Wise camera. Which we love our Wise camera, and that it has like night vision and all kinds of stuff. So sometimes we'll set it up and it will record the crabbies at night, and then you can like time lapse it, whatever. So yes, absolutely, it's very popular.
We need
just
to.
haven't done it yet.
We just haven't done it yet. We used it a lot before our build. We had it on my tank in the laundry room, but we just need to get it set up, honestly.
Yeah. It's something we're definitely looking into.
Caroline asks, have you ever had too many crabs to handle at one time, i.e. with fosters and or mass amounts of adoptees, etc.?
No, I just buy a new tank.
Yeah, I was gonna say she just gets a new tank. It's never been an issue because we'll just be like, oh, we have too many crabs, new tank. It definitely could have been an issue, but
we will not let it get to that where it's too much.
We're at our max tank now. Like, we've decided this is our final build, and so we will not overpopulate and overcrowd our tanks. So, you know, you're not rescuing a crab if you're bringing them to an environment that's not safe. And so, you know, we wouldn't do that.
Yep, absolutely.
But we have not run into that problem as of yet. Previously, we would just add another tank, which is why we've gotten to where we are now. But my room is full, so we cannot add more tanks. And we have more space. We have 45 crabs and we have 700 gallons. So we can add some more. But, you know, like I said, we don't buy them. And so we just
wait for adoptees to come to us. I don't know, though. She's kind of addicted to this whole thing. So I'm just saying, will there be more tanks in the future? Who knows? Never say never.
I got kids going to college, which is opening space.
Exactly. So. Yeah. So when my bedroom turns into a crab room, I will not be surprised.
But I'll be one person caring for a lot of tanks. Like, this is a lot to keep up. So, but chances are not. I won't get more tanks. And I like to be here. That's one reason that I did the crab room, because I had tanks in so many different rooms in the house. One, it was a lot more to take care of in a lot of different locations because every tank has 2 pools. And so the other problem that I didn't like is having to like spend a little bit of time with this tank and then go watch crabs a little bit at this tank. And so here they're all in one room surrounding me, and I just sit in my chair.
Yeah,
and
she has a little swivel chair. She sits it in the middle of the room, and she'll just swivel from side to side.
Watch my crabs. Yeah. So
we had someone ask earlier what green sand was.
That's a great question.
It is basically like, from what it's explained to me, is like nutrients and algae type stuff off the ocean floor. And so it's really, really high in nutrients that you don't get in regular foods or in human foods, like from where they live, from nature, out of the ocean.
Like kelp, seaweed.
Yes, plankton, like all those kind of settlements is harvested and becomes green sand.
All right, we're gonna answer 2 questions.
Yeah, we're gonna do
And
2
then
more,
we
you
will
guys.
sign off.
Yeah.
We've been live for 2 hours. All right, let's see.
I cannot get over how absolutely active the 2019
Emma
babies are.
asks, how do you afford to buy so many tanks?
Great question. So, did you want to answer this? Okay, a lot of our tanks are found from Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. Not that many of our tanks are actually new. So, I mean, what would you say, like?
1.
Yeah, just one of them is new. The
A
actual
topper. One
stands
topper.
None of the big tanks are actually
yeah, none of
all
these
used.
massive tanks, yeah. Because, like, guys, a massive tank like this from, like, the store is hundreds and hundreds of dollars. Hundreds and hundreds. But if you are regularly searching Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, places like that, eventually you will find some deals. Now, sometimes they need a little TLC, you know, and so we'll have to clean them out really, really well, but that comes with it. But yeah, we, as far as the purchasing the actual tanks go, we don't usually buy new ones. The stands we built ourselves.
Wow, my husband.
Well,
built
yeah,
them.
Dad built them himself, but we didn't have to buy them, and we like built storage into it. So, you know, it takes a little longer than just buying one at the store, but it's cheaper. So
Also, as we were talking about earlier, you know, we started with 1 tank and then got a second and then a third, and so,
Right.
so it's not like I went
All
and
at
got
once.
all these at one time and had to buy all the heat mats and all the
Right.
lights and all. I did, you know, it was like 1 tank at a time, and then time would pass and we would start another one. So
Yeah.
when we did this huge tank build,
we had most of it.
we had a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Guys, you guys who have been with us forever and ever since we started our channel, which by the way, our channel anniversary was like literally a week ago, I think, our 2-year anniversary, so that's kind of cool. But y'all will remember that our tanks used to be spread out amongst our house, amongst the school, and so we would have like 100 gallon here, 150 gallon here, like 175 with a topper here. And so eventually Mom was just dreaming one day, and she was like, what if we combined them all? And so that's how
COVID.
we're here.
That's what
Yeah.
happens in COVID quarantine, and you have nothing
You have
but
crazy
time
ideas like this.
to
Yeah.
think about.
Yeah. Okay, so one more question.
All right, let's see. Ooh, oh, there's like, how to decide.
And you guys, if we don't answer your question here because we didn't get to it, for real, like DM us on Facebook or Instagram. Leave us a comment, whatever. We
Or comment on the YouTube.
yeah, comment on the YouTube. Like that way, more people can learn from it. Actually, that's kind of the preferred way is if you comment on YouTube, so many people can see it. We'll answer it, you guys, and we do lives pretty frequently. So just be on the lookout for those announcements and ask then.
All right, let's see. The last question. Ella asks, have you ever thought about having your own hermit crab food shop?
Good question, Ella.
So, the short answer to that is yes. Yes, we have. In fact, that is, we've thought about that in a lot of different times, and we go back to it a lot. It's
Yep.
on the idea board, but it is definitely not something that we are planning on opening or starting very soon. To be honest with you, Ella, there are already so many great
Wonderful
hermit crab shops that sell wonderful food that we don't want to be competition to those people. We'd rather support them, and we don't mind, you know, telling you guys the food companies that we use and that our hermit crabs really love, and then helping you find those companies. We don't make any money off of that. It's purely just
We just love them.
like, we love our hermit crabs. We want them to be happy and healthy, and we want yours to be happy and healthy, and so we just share it with you guys. So on our website, we have our favorite products, and you can go there to see kind of the things that we use in our tanks and the different food companies that we use regularly. And that kind of stuff is like updated as we find new stuff that we like. So you can go back there and visit it every once in a while. But I'm not ruling it completely out forever. Maybe one
Yeah.
day.
There's just things that are kind of higher on the list.
Yeah.
Higher on
We
the
just
totem
started
pole.
with our merch. That's
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
thing.
Merch,
Yeah.
guys.
Merch. Go get your merch. www.crabcentralstation.com. It's very soft. It's very cute.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, that was our
All
last
right.
question.
Make sure that you comment below, hit the like, tell us if you really enjoyed this tank review or reveal.
Let us
live.
know. Yeah, let us know how this worked out for you guys. This is our first time using this kind of setup. Like I said at the beginning, Brooke spent hours and hours setting up this whole like YouTube situation. I don't even know what's going on in front of me here, but tell us how this worked out for you guys. We really take what y'all say into consideration.
Do you want us to do it live again?
Yeah,
or
do you want us to do
prefer
it live again?
recorded?
Do you prefer it how we used to do it? Yeah, so we really appreciate you guys' feedback, and thank you so much for joining us today. Like I said earlier, when you guys subscribe and like and comment and come to our lives, like you
And
have
your
no
super
idea.
chats,
Yes, your super chats.
awesome.
You have no idea how much that fills our hearts and like makes us want to continue to make content.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you guys so much.
We'll see y'all next
All
time.
right, bye guys.